Everyone, welcome back. We will talk about the system preferences, which is essentially the equivalent to your Windows PC settings. So, last video we talked about Finder, and then the video before that we talked about um, some basics in regards to navigation for your Mac. So, if you refer to that skill set 1 video, it will talk to you about the menu bar, which is where you will go to click on the Apple menu to get to your system preferences. So, like I mentioned just a second ago, system preferences is essentially the equivalent to the settings. So, this will be where you will find all of the ways to customize your Mac experience. So, be it changing your desktop, changing the way the dock looks, like we did the time before last, setting up Touch ID, checking for software updates, looking for um, connecting items to Bluetooth, your battery life, security and privacy. I put those words together. Securacy, new thing. And if you need to change anything with Siri or notifications, that'll all be here. Now, system preferences does not enlarge to a full window, it looks like. Um, since there's no enlarge, it's minimize or close. So this is as big as it gets. Now, it is separated currently into 3 sections on the type of Mac that I have. Some Macs may have an extra section, um, as in there's an extra category that they've broken the system preferences down into. But for what we have here, this is what we have. So the first section will be anything and everything about your Apple ID and family sharing. So if you need to set that up or switch Apple IDs or set up family sharing, you'll do that in this top section. The next category will have to do with um, kind of the interface. So changing your desktop, changing the dock or the menu bar, playing with Siri, changing how Spotlight reacts, Touch ID, Wallet, and Apple Pay, and all of that. The last section will be things like your software updates, and then you'll have your Bluetooth, any peripheral items here, like your printer, keyboard, trackpad, and mouse will all be here. Startup disk information, battery, and displays. So right now, it's set up into organized by category, and that can be kind of confusing if you don't quite know what you're looking for, where it is. So if I know I'm looking for like keyboard, I'll have to go through each section in order to find it if I didn't quite remember that it was in this spot. So if I needed to change that, I can organize this section alphabetically. So if I choose that, it'll break it into 2 sections where your Apple ID information will still be at the top, but now all of the system preferences are in alphabetical order, which I find a lot easier. So you do have the option to change that as well. Now you also may have noticed in view that there's an alphabetical list here of everything that's listed in the system preferences. So you can also do that as well, or you can long press on the grid icon that's to the left of the system preferences, which is essentially the show all button. And so what this will do is it'll give you that same menu that's listed in the view menu. So if you needed to get to something, say open keyboard like I mentioned before, you'll just let go on that option. And then if you click show all again, it'll take you back to the main menu for system preferences. So that's what's in the view. Now, if you aren't quite sure what you're looking for, there is a search. So even if you do have it sorted by category or alphabetically, and you don't know which menu to go into, you can search the system preferences. So for instance, I can start a search here, or with the keyboard shortcut Command F, or use the search bar in the upper right of the system preferences window. And if I type, so say I want to give apps access to my files, but I don't know where to go for that. If I just type in files, because I know that's kind of part of what I want to do, as I'm typing, I'll get a suggested search here. I took the S off just to make the menu a little longer. But you'll notice also in the System Preferences window, certain apps will highlight because they mention something about doing something with files. And so if I see what I want here in the suggestion box and I click on it, it'll act as if it opened up security and privacy for me by kind of like flashing it, and then it opened it up right to where I need to be in order to allow apps to access whatever apps I need. Now, in this particular window, since this is something that has to do with security and privacy, there is a lock icon in the bottom right of this window because only people with admin privileges can make these changes. So, anytime you see that padlock, in order to make a change to whatever screen you're in, you'll have to click on the padlock and then put in your login information in order to make changes to that specific setting. And then you'll click unlock. So I'm going to cancel. So that's what that little padlock is for. Because you could be here and be like, it's all grayed out. You'll have to click on the padlock, log in, and then put your information in. And then to get back to the main menu, you can press the back arrows and it'll take you back to that search, or just take you back to system preferences if you hadn't started with the search before. Now, while we're in here, let me go ahead and close that search. Say you want to, first things first, change your desktop background, um, and you aren't quite sure if you need to go to display or general. You can go to one then the other, or desktop and screensaver, but sometimes utilizing the search is a little bit easier. So you could say background, which will change it to the equivalent of desktop picture, or make the display easier to see if that's what you were looking for. So you'll see accessibility is highlighted and desktop and screensaver. So I'm going to click on desktop picture. It'll open that automatically for me and then take me to where I can change my desktop and my screensaver image. So if I go here, right now I have it as this pretty iridescence. If I wanted to make it dynamic, I can make it the lake, and it'll change and give you a live preview in the background. So all you have to do is just pick the one you want and then essentially close this window. Here are these. They have a light and a dark option depending on how you have your settings. So if you come up to the drop down, there's automatic, light mode, which will be that one. Or if you change it to dark, it'll essentially be that same screensaver, but at night. And then they have pictures here that you can choose from, which are just kind of default images you could add. And then you'll notice down here, change picture is now available now that I'm in the photos section. So I can essentially go change picture every 30 minutes. When I log in, change it every single time, every day, every hour, a random order. I can do that too. So that's how you would change that information. That one's pretty. I like bright, dramatic ones. But I know that's not ideal for some people. So I'll do this one. It's a little more tame. Alright, and then I will click the show all button and go back here. So that's essentially your system preferences. It's pretty easy. Utilizing the search will be your bestest friend. Um, but I'll give you an example of kind of a way to really dive into changing some system preferences when using the touch bar.
Okay, so I'm going to show you how the touch bar will change depending on what app you are in. So right now I'm not in any particular app, so it just has a few grayed out options available. Um, but if I were to open up the calendar, for instance, let's make that a little larger. You'll notice now that there is a today, a 2018, 2019, so on and so forth, because I'm in the year view in my calendar. But if I go down to the month, the touch bar will change to let me choose a month. So if I'm like, oh, I need to go back to April real quick, I can go all the way back to April rather quickly. Or if I need to go back to July, I can do that. Or ahead to October, I can do that as well. If I need to go by the week, I can change my calendar to week view, and then it'll give me a date range in the touch bar that I can select. If I go to the day, it'll give me days I can select. So it can change that depending on what app you're in. So those are the app controls.
To change the touch bar to show more of your media controls, you'll access the Apple menu and go to System Preferences and then open the keyboard menu. And where it says Touch Bar Shows, you can change it to an expanded control strip. So this will give you a host of options that will stay standard regardless of which apps you have open if you don't like the changing of options every time you open something new. So what we'll do now is we will take a look at the expanded control strips. You can see what all of these options do. Don't worry about memorizing them. I'll teach you what they are at the end.
I'm going to use my cute little stylus because I had a hangnail this morning. We have our brightness. So if I tap that, it'll let me change that. So if I go down, it'll lower on the screen. If I tap it again, my screen brightness will go up. Then we have a kind of jumble of boxes here. And so what this is this is the mission control button. This will let you see what's running on the Mac, including all of your spaces and open windows. So if I tap that, it'll show me that on desktop 1, I've got this window open. On desktop 2, I have another set of windows open. And then it says here that I'm in the keyboard menu and I have that open. So that's mission control. If I tap that, it'll go ahead and close itself. That's kind of like if you want to do the task view on your Windows-based computer. It's kind of the equivalent to that. Next to mission control, we have the launchpad. And so what the launchpad button will do is it'll open launchpad, where you can see all of the apps on your MacBook Pro, and then you can click on whichever app you want to open it. So if I'm like, okay, go ahead and open the calculator, I can open it from the Launch Pro. But you'll see now, unlike before, it's going to stay in the control strip instead of showing me app controls for the calculator app I just opened. So if you like that it's stationary, this might be a good option for you. To the right of the launchpad, you will have the keyboard illumination buttons. So this is whether or not you want your keyboard brightness lower or if you want it higher, depending on where you are. You might not have noticed much change in my keyboard because it's really bright in the room. And then to the right of that will be your media control buttons. So your back, play, pause, and your forward. And then you will have your mute button, your volume buttons, and then you most likely will see Siri on this end. So if you tap on that part of the touch bar, Siri will activate and say how she can help you.
I'm not sure I understand.
I didn't have anything to say, Siri. I'm sorry for waking you. So that is the control strip in the touch bar.
Okay, so like I mentioned earlier, we will check out the guide I used to help navigate us through the touch bar. So I am at Apple support. which is what helped me. Um, so here in the search support bar, I'm just going to type in touch bar. I think we were in customize. And here I see some options for customize the touch bar on the Mac. So this is, we'll walk you through how to change those touch bar settings. So like we were before, Apple menu, system preferences, keyboard, change those control strip buttons, change the buttons for apps if you need to do that. And then there's also one for using the touch bar on a Mac, which will give you a little bit more detailed information about the parts of the touch bar. So we played around in the control strip, we expanded it, and then you'll see here it says use control strip buttons, display brightness, mission control, launchpad, keyboard brightness, video or music playback, and then the volume. So again, that was Apple support and the Mac OS user guide if you were already there from the video before last where we talked about this. And then you can search the guide for touch bar on the Mac. So that's what I have for you today. Hopefully you learned a little something and you're ready to teach me a little something. I don't know, but see you next time.
And we want to thank you for watching. Follow us to find more videos just like this. Our page on Facebook is MCPL 360. We're here every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday. And if you miss us on Facebook, you'll still find these same videos on our YouTube channel at MCPL Mo. Find our consumer technology playlist. Have a good day.